in a way, it's codifying what we were doing earlier by shifting our character over to the side. So if I put another layer here, if I put my character, say I want somebody to really see what my character is doing, or his expression. If I put him right on that line, then this is on, the body itself is on that vertical line. Okay, each of these vertical and horizontal lines is also an area of interest that our eye likes to go to. Okay, so the body itself is on this vertical line, our eye will go to that. But the face is right on one of those most important intersections. Okay, and on top of that, if we look at the negative space, we have that tension that we had talked about, where we've got a tight amount of space on one side and we've got a much more open space on the other. So visually speaking, it's interesting. Now when we are, this is something you guys can do if you're really interested in this idea of cinematography. Go ahead and take any movie. Okay, if you look on YouTube, you can probably find a video and do this. Draw, import it into, take a little clip, import it into Digicel, and on one of the layers draw this grid. Okay, divide it as best you can and draw this grid. And what you'll begin to notice is just how the cinematographers use this thing all the time. Okay. Normally when I do this lecture I give a little demo of that, but I want to get on to some other things today, so we're not going to do that today. But it's really amazing how frequently they use this. And it's not just for the characters, also for determining where your horizon line might be. Because if we have a horizon line down here on the bottom third, that's creating again the spatial tension that's really enjoyable to our eyes. So we have 2/3 of empty space and 1/3 of non-empty space here. And if we wanted to throw a character in here, if we threw a character in there and say he was, I don't know, say the camera was just at the right height, suddenly we have, again, an interesting composition. So see, I can turn this off. Let me draw the frame around it. Turn that off, and again, it just for some reason is a very interesting composition to us. Now we can go one step further using some of those other concepts, add the guy in the foreground, and now look, now we've got this tension going between these two. Let me erase this a little bit. Oops. Where is it? Give them a little space, So anyway, we've got the tension between these two. And we're playing with the big, medium, and small at the same time. And at the same time, we've got a strong composition working between these two. Okay, so are there any questions on that? Does this make sense? Is this something you guys already knew, or is this worthwhile? Cool.
For me it's new stuff, so great.
Cool. Alright. Let me, maybe I will do a quick demo of a video, just because it really is pretty interesting to see exactly how this stuff gets used. Let's go to, where is it? Okay, Microsoft Video. Alright, let's try this one. Wait a minute. There's another Gotham. Is she here? Okay, let's try this one. That's funny. Didn't show up. Where'd it go? Okay, well that didn't work. Let's see, let's try this one. Where does it go? It's not opening. Should open. Okay, here we go. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw the grid on this. And I want you guys to just observe as I scrub through here how this idea of the rule of thirds actually works. Now I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, but it's not straight, but and this is a little bit off as far as the vertical goes, but we're pretty close. All right, so let's scrub through this. Now you guys saw that I just drew these things, right? I wasn't really paying close attention to them. And look what's happening. She's almost exactly on that line. This central portion of the screen, look, everything is falling within this little square. All the areas of interest that are going on in this particular film are landing right in the middle of that square. And interestingly, the shape of the horse is acting like one of those arrows to bring us in and down into this area of interest. Our little chameleon guy is looking like an arrow. He pretty much looks exactly like an arrow pointing right at the horse's face. So that draws us down. Our eye would come across, hit that, and be drawn down into here. And then it would grab onto her eyes, which send us back over there, sends us back over here, and suddenly we're caught in the perfect area of interest. Okay, let's keep scrubbing. But look at this. They're falling basically right onto those lines throughout their acting. And when she goes over, look, the camera adjusts. So she's momentarily way over on the side, but the camera adjusts and brings her right back onto that line. Right? There she is. And look, she's landing almost right on that point of intersection too. So we've got that area of interest down here that the cinematographer is drawing us to. And look at Flynn here. His area of interest is almost exactly on that intersection as well. Oh, and then they cut back, and there she is back over there, right on that line. Oh, and then they work their way up into this little area here, right? That area of intersection again. Now notice how the point of interest here, they could have put it dead center, right? But again, they've been thinking about this and they wanted it to be more interesting, so they offset it slightly. The bands of what's holding this on just naturally act like an arrow and draw our eye right to the nameplate anyway. But by offsetting it a little bit, you get that visual tension between the lesser full side and the more empty side. So even in a wide shot like this, notice how the horse is almost exactly on that. So here what they've done, they've basically given each character their own third of the screen, right? And that's one way to do it, but also remember grouping. Look how Rapunzel is actually touching him. So visually, she becomes part of his group, whereas Flynn is off by himself. Right? So we have this tension between a group and a lone figure. Now, if we want to get picky, you can think of Flynn actually as part of this much larger third, because he's sort of part of these rocks, if you want to think of it that way. Whereas Rapunzel and Maximus are in this more negative space area. You can see